I agree with the issue of Nairobi being, when we make a case for the city, that we should make a case also, for our neighbors. Chair, if you look at our population, Nairobi has 7 million people during the day, and at night it comes down to around 5. Go to Kajiado, Ongata Rongai, Ngong, Kiambu, and the outskirts of Ruaka. But Chair, the formula for giving money to counties is based on a census that is done at night. Now, when the census is done at night, but the services are sought during the day. You use the roads during the day, you go to hospitals during the day, you need the water during the day mostly. And so that is one thing that needs to be looked at, in terms of when are we counting these people. Some of the interventions we're making are really well. And I'll give you an example. We're planning to do a level 5 hospital on Magadi Road, because that is on your way to Ongatarongai. Because we find if today you go to Magathi Hospital, a huge population has come from Kajiado County in terms of the patients, and they say it, they've come from there. Because within their county, where they'll find a level 5 is on the far end, on the other side. And so they will come use our services in our hospitals, but when we're getting allocations, that is not factored in. So I agree, we need to have that in mind. And many of our interventions, including in transit, we've really fought for the dualing of that Magadi Road, which is now being done, and that helps Ongatarongai and Keserian. We fought for the dualing of Kiambu Road from Muthaiga up until Dumberi. That has now been provided for. And so we look at the bigger picture, And so when we say that power amount, it is the physical bill that is in the city. Because it is hard for you to pay that 4%, yet outside your house, there's no, the lighting infrastructure that we need to keep doing. And previously, I've spoken about the challenges in terms of vandalism, the challenges in terms of, needing to work with the police. On water, we've made progress when we created what we call the water police, together with the national government. And it really reduced theft of the water in our non-revenue water, because a lot of it, and I give an example, along Airport North Road, when we went with them, we found what looks like a kiosk. There's a lady there who has a kiosk, but when you go inside, you go underground, she has 16 pumps. She's a pumping station supplying water to flats, and she's also supplying power. So she is Kenya Power and Nairobi Water, but outside you think it's sweet, And so once the level of water comes up, which we've increased by 140 million liters now, we still have 250 that is remaining. We can then incorporate technology like SCADA technology that we can be able to see. So, Chair, yes, I agree. The issue of Nairobi as a county, I remember during the constitution making, or rather BBI, the BBI process, when there was those suggestions, I went and made a case together with my MPs that time when I was in the Senate, that world over, when the most thriving center, whether it is economical, has really grown, and you want to set an administrative capital, you move away from the city. You move from Dar es Salaam to Dodoma. You move from Lagos to Abuja, Federal Capital Territory. You move from Sydney or Melbourne to Canberra. You create a district of Columbia, like in Washington, D.C. You don't convert that which is already thriving, that actually has more than 10% of the population. If we say devolution is the biggest gift of our constitution, why would you deny 10% of the population that? Those who are in Nairobi. That lady in Mutwini, that lady in Kayole also needs to have a governor. She can talk to an MCA. And so we hold strongly, Nairobi should remain as a county, but we should look at the financing and some of the structures of governance. We've just passed our legislation on boroughs. We've created now 6 boroughs in Nairobi, where we've brought in a number of constituencies. So the Northern Borough has a number of constituencies. Eastern Borough, I've appointed borough managers last week. And in these boroughs now, you've stepped down the administration such that the person looking at solid waste in Dandora and water is not the same person thinking about it in Langata, you know, and they have some budget and some form of, it is a structure that has better absorption than just a constituency. A constituency is not economically viable per se for economic absorption, but about with 3 of them coming together, Zimbabwe have 17 constituencies, then is a better way of engaging and through, you know, doing public participation. So that is my position. And that is why Section 6 and the whole Urban Areas and Cities Act talks about that special relationship and additional funding. And you'll have an easier time, even when you're doing division of revenue, if you remove Nairobi from that formula. Just remove Nairobi from it, possibly in Lamu, because when you do a normal distribution curve, there'll always be 2 outliers. Nairobi on one end, Lamu on the other end. And you'll have no equity in the middle. But if you remove those 2, because of that huge discrepancy, you will see other counties actually getting closer to what they require to function. And then we finance Nairobi differently. And we finance Lamu, and I think there are 6 counties that have been getting less than 6 billion. That's a proposal that you can consider. Chair, on the issue of Senator Muma, on the issue of flooding and roads. Chair, there's something that the late former Prime Minister kept saying that I don't think people listen to. The agencies of Kura, Kena, and Kera were created before devolution. They were created when he was the Minister for Energy, because a lot of power was concentrated in the office of the Principal Secretary. And so there was a need to have these agencies to do a lot of that work. Once devolution has come in, and the court ruled, though the National Assembly went to appeal and there's a 1-year stay, there are only 2 categories of roads: national roads and county roads. If you look at the amount of money, and that's what I'm asking for, the amount of money collected nationally, no, the amount of money collected nationally on the fuel levy is around 119 billion. Yeah? From that 119 billion shillings, county roads are 70% of the roads in Kenya. But you want to give all counties 3 billion. You've securitized, it's 25 shillings per litre. You've securitized 7 shillings. You've got an additional money. If counties are actually 70% of all the roads in the country, the amount of money going to counties for roads, 70% of 119 billion, should be around 83 billion. Now from that 83 billion shillings, what we will get as Nairobi will be able to finance it. So Senator Muma, many of these, if you list the roads that flood in the city, it is under Kenya, it is not Nairobi. Mombasa Road, Uhuru Highway is a flooding hotspot. It is under Kenya. Ojijo Road, Kipande Road is still under that agency. We've had to go tell them, please sort this out, because on Kipande Road you have a 1.2 meter drain draining into 0.6 perennial flooding. When they sort it out, it stops flooding. Jogo Road, the whole of Jogo Road, including the trash there, is Kura. Juja Road, Agwins Kodhek, all the roads you use. But the blame comes squarely to the county. So I can even share correspondence that I've done. I've listed roads that have been having that problem and told the Minister for Roads, please sort this out, or let us come up with a program together. We've costed one at 1.5 billion to sort out the entire issue of drainage and where new roads should be done. But there are roads under their current mandate. So either sort it out or give us our share of that money to sort out those roads. You know, and the Senate really needs to come out strongly.
Excuse me, Chair. Have you finished? Because it was an addendum. Okay, you finished now.
Yeah. So the challenge that we currently have, there is no agreement. Senator Mu asked if we have a current intergovernmental agreement with Kura or Kera on classification. Classification of roads was done by KRB. That classification is what has been ruled to be unconstitutional. So county roads should be classified as county roads. If you look at the resources, then because people drive on all the on these roads and they buy fuel, that fuel is what is contributing to 120 billion of fuel levy. Why don't counties then get 70% of that 119 billion? That is a case that we need to make, and I think the Senate is best placed to make that case. For now, the allocation we've gotten on road maintenance levy is 120 million shillings. But if it was based on the 83B, yeah, if you look at even the formula for allocation, Nairobi would be getting possibly close to 10, close to 10 billion of that, and that would sort out completely all the issue of portals, drainage, all the issues of, the walkways, which we keep trying to do, that we're increasing, because that is what a capital city needs to look at. So it's a struggle. Despite all that, we're putting money, onto roads. We are working with the current situation. Currently as we speak, there's 2 billion worth of roads that we're implementing with Kura in Nairobi. We've asked for another 1.5 B. 587 is sorting out the issue where there are still drainage hotspots. The other 1B is doing, further repairs. Across the city, if you go today, you will see a lot of road works. It has come out through that program, and we'll continue doing it. But fundamentally, that question that Baba was raising, that 1 year break that has been kept by the court, I think we need to come out strongly on the road maintenance levy fund. Chair, I can leave it at that for now, kindly, and then you can go on to the other. You guide what we do.
Oyoka. Okay, Mheshimiwa.
Okay, thank you.